So here we go. What are we going to do? Israel-Hamas war still going on, isn't it? So what's going on? Let's find out what's happening. What's this title? The title of this piece is called Israel-Hamas War Escalates with 40 Babies Killed in Extraordinary Day of Death and Destruction. That's the headline. With 40 babies killed in extraordinary day of death and destruction. There is zero suspected. There's zero in that title that would lead you to think that 40 babies may not have been killed. So let's read it or listen to it or whatever you do with it. I don't know, shove it in your fucking face like a pasty.
Charlie, thank you very much for joining us at the top of the show.
Charlie!
What have you learned since you've been in Tel Aviv?
He's learned how to suck. Good.
Today has been an extraordinary day of death and destruction. The casualty figures now hurtling into the thousands on both sides.
Hurtling into the thousands on both sides. Well, into the thousands would be double thousands, would be 2,000. I don't think that many people got killed on the one side, but it is hurtling into the other on the other side because they're bombing Gaza. They're bombing one of the most densely packed areas in the world. What the hell? They're bombing civilians. Of course there's going to be more. It's just, oh, look how bad those people are. So we're going to do the same thing. Look, they're killing us, so we'll kill them too. It's just like gnome logic. These people are completely and utterly senseless. The whole idea of this, and reporting on it like one side's good and the other side's bad because one side did it first. You did it first. That makes us able to do whatever we want now, and you can't do anything about it. You're always forever the bad guys.
And this has definitely become a complex and multi-fronted war in northern Lebanon.
Multi-fronted war. Why? Went multi-fronted because the Palestinian people are scattered all over the place, and there's going to be loads of supporters all around the Middle East of Palestine who see this attack by Hamas and the response being attack Palestine as being a problem, an issue. You're attacking the most defenseless people in the world, people who have been put onto a massive concentration camp. Gaza is a concentration camp. Whatever people try and sell it to you as, it's the most densely packed area of people are slowly being both culturally genocided and just genocide. It's just genocide. It's been going on for ages, more than just the past week. The responses, yes, they're awful. They're terrible, but doesn't mean that this hasn't been going on for such a stupid amount of time. Charlie Peters, look at him. He looks like he's ejaculating.
Northern Israel, in the south of Israel, on the border with Gaza, and even up to Tel Aviv, where we are, there have been attacks, both small arms fire and rockets. There has been artillery from the IDF back into Hamas-controlled areas and airstrikes into Gaza. But there have also been more disturbing reports in the south of Israel where
Here we go. This is the crux of it. This is the more disturbing reports. The 40 babies killed. I'm going to tell you what I think this sounds and reminds me of, because I remember this very distinctly when I was young.
This morning, the government claimed it had secured its border with Gaza. That now appears to have not been the case. In the last hour, 2 terrorists were killed in Mefalsim and another was killed in Sderot, areas that the IDF claims they had cleared with paratroopers. It now seems that that might not be the case as more violence continues. In the last half-hour meeting with troops, Defence Minister Yoav Gallant said that he had released all restraints and that Israel was now going into a full offence.
A full offence? How many Hamas attacked and a full offence in response? The disproportion is immense. They are just killing children. Their response is just going to kill children in the same, even at worse way, even quicker, even more brutal than the other side did. So there's no one who's not going to get killed on both sides. It's no one is good. No one. But one is called a terrorist organization and the other is the actual authorities that are in charge of Israel, not the people of Israel, who are, yes, are probably scared and have been attacked and all of those things, but the rest is just vengeance. It's just the sickest form of everything. What is wrong with these people?
Now, for people in Gaza, this will obviously be extremely concerning, as the number of people killed
No
there
doubt.
approaches 1,000 as targeted airstrikes are launched.
This is from a day or so ago. This is already many more people have died. They are leveling parts of Gaza. This is cultural genocide. This is genocide. This is a concrete prisoner of war camp, concentration camp. The most concentrated amount of people in any area being bombarded by fire from above. Little warning. Really? That's, oh, well, I could see who the good people are and who the bad people are. The good people are obviously the people burning to death children, not the people burning to death children. No, the people burning children to death. No, they're all right. But the people burning children to death, they're horrible. Now, the people who are killing innocent women and children, they're horrible. But the people who are killing innocent women and children, they're not horrible. They're good. They're heroes, aren't they? They're the heroes. The heroes are killing women and children, and the heroes, the villains, those dastardly villains, they're killing women and children. Where are we in the world? Realize, you take away the logic, you just dismember the logic, and what you left with, both sides killing people, both sides, and you're going to take one of those sides. Are you going to be like a binary? Let's jump on the killing children wagon rather than the killing children wagon, shall we?
But when some of the atrocities become made aware and some of the information coming out of southern Israel reaches the airwaves, the reason for that kind of statement will become more clear, I think, to onlookers. In the last hour, we have heard reports of up to 40 babies being killed in a kibbutz in
Here we go.
southern Israel. I think that...
Okay, so this widely reported, 40 babies killed in a kibbutz in southern Israel. And I think a kibbutz is like a community, like an independent community that's built possibly outside the official borders of Israel. I'm not sure if that's true, if that's accurate, but I think everybody will agree it's a group of people who are Israeli Jews, and they've been attacked. No doubt, they've been attacked. And it's horrible that they've been attacked. They should not have been attacked. It's horrible. On top of that is a report. It's come from one news source that 40 babies were, first of all, it was beheaded. Loads of people said beheaded. It came from one person who said that a witness had said to a news source, official mainstream Israeli news channel, that 40 babies had been beheaded. Then it was 40 babies had been murdered. Then it was 40 babies had been burnt to death. And then there was pictures shown, apparently showing burnt to death babies. It doesn't give you any idea of what you're actually looking at. You can't tell. It's unrecognizable. It's just charred remains. You can't tell if you're looking at Jewish babies, Palestinian babies. You have no idea where they come from. The evidence, even though part released to the public, was really just only shown to Blinken, the US representative, by Netanyahu, I believe. So they show, no, look, these are pictures of charred bodies of dead babies. Oh, and then we'll release them to the public. There's loads of people saying they're AI, they're this, it's an AI picture, it's not even a real picture and stuff. And it's impossible to tell anything from it. And of course, it reminds everybody of the Naira testimony, the false testimony given to the United States Congressional Human Rights Caucus when I was just 10 years old, by a 15-year-old girl who at the time basically said that she was, I think she said she was working in the hospital, and explained about the babies being pulled out of incubators and murdered by the Iraqis during the invasion of Kuwait. And George H.W. Bush, of course, used it as a way to get backing for this. The UN responded to other people responded, and it was a false allegation. It was an allegation that seemed so extreme and made people so angry because it's babies, it's the worst thing you can do. And this, it resembles that so much, and it's impossible to know. The idea that people would kill babies, you'd have to be so sick, wild, horrible person. The fact that they could be bombed and that a building with babies in could be burnt, that could be possible. How that happened or whatever without an investigation, and during an all-out propaganda war right at the start of a war, it's hard to it shouldn't be every news agency reporting that 40 babies killed. That is just a rumor, and they kind of say these rumors. They say they're rumors. They say they're allegations, but then they title the piece "Israel-Hamas War Escalates with 40 Babies Killed." It doesn't say possibly killed. It doesn't say allegations of. It doesn't say anything like that. It says escalates with 40 babies killed in extraordinary day of death and destruction. Where is it leading you? It's leading you down a road to be a cuck. There's got to be some form of proper evidence before they start saying that these is matter of fact within the title, and then just mention the allegations or rumors within the piece.
This is the most shocking development of all of the shocking developments we have heard today. It goes beyond the standard massacre and murder that has become commonplace since Saturday. It is a new level of depravity. Many of the people that I've spoken to.
So now he said, understand what he's doing. He said there's, what did he say, rumors, allegations, and now he's reporting it and saying it like this is a different depravity. This is so as though it is true. Listen to how he words it and how he terms it, how it's carefully termed.
As the number of people killed there approaches 1,000 as targeted airstrikes are launched. But when some of the atrocities become made aware, and some of the information coming out.
So when some of the atrocities are made aware, what that means is hard to understand. Do you understand what that means? Let's hear it again.
But when some of the atrocities become made aware.
So when some of the atrocities become made aware, so he's trying to say, what we'd believe, that when we become aware of the atrocities,
some of the information coming out of southern Israel,
and some of the information coming out of southern Israel, this is from one news source who's with an unnamed witness at this stage,
reaches the airwaves, the reason for that kind of statement will become more clear, I think.
The reason for that sort of statement will become more clear. There's been no investigation. There's only allegations. There's a report. But you're saying already a motive.
To onlookers. In the last hour, we have heard reports of up to 40 babies being...
In the last hour, we have heard reports. One report. But that report has then been reported multiple times, so they can say reports. But it's not. It's one person at this point when he's speaking, one person reporting. We've heard one report from an unnamed source at this point through a mainstream Israeli channel that's, of course, going to be aligned with the Israeli government.
Being killed in a kibbutz in southern Israel. I think this
the 40
is the most
babies
shocking
be killed in the
development
kibbutz.
of all of the shocking
This is the most shocking development of all the shocking development. What, the report, the allegation? Or now you've skipped into reality? This is the most shocking development. This could be. There's no conditional. This is the most shocking development. It's already now that we've heard these reports, it's already true. We're now sitting in Congress telling you that babies were pulled out of incubators.
Developments we have heard today. It goes beyond the standard massacre and murder that has become commonplace.
It goes beyond the standard massacre or murder that's become commonplace. it's been out. You can't have commonplace over a few days. You can have commonplace because it hasn't been commonplace. It's been random murders all over the place and other things. But this idea that suddenly the babies being murdered on this side is much worse than babies being murdered on that side, and that deserves it, and all of these sort of things. This comes from this moment where he's a supposed journalist. I don't think he's probably a journalist. This is but a pretty biased report, but it's pretty trying to spark an emotion on reports and allegations. Not just report the allegations, just get involved in the emotive, in the creation of emotion about the allegations.
Since Saturday, it is a new level of depravity. Many of the people that I've spoken to today, fleeing from southern Israel, fleeing from those kibbutzes, reflecting in great misery and shock at that news.
But again, so he's saying he's talked to loads of people today, people running from those kibbutzes who are shocked by those reports. Now, if the initial report is false, overstated, not quite how it's meant to be, then all of those other reports are false. All of those people, their reaction is visceral of the time. It all looks like propaganda. It all reminds me of babies in incubators.
The reports there from the Israeli ambulances and indeed IDF soldiers who cleared out that kibbutz. It's a devastating development.
So he's saying it is a devastating development, and he's saying Israeli soldiers, yeah, and was it medical? Wait a minute. He's actually stated something else, which is at this point it was only one person had said it to when he's making this statement, had said it to a reporter
who cleared out that kibbutz. It's from the Israeli ambulances and indeed IDF
Israeli
soldiers
ambulances
who cleared
and
out.
Indeed IDF soldiers. So the ambulance services and the IDF soldiers are claiming this, he's saying, but that it wasn't true at that point. It was one person to mainstream, and the story has slightly changed here and there. I'm not sure if it's going to mean that 40 babies are murdered or not. The whole point is you don't know, you can't react. You should not be putting into the mind of your viewers that this is a definite atrocity when it's just a report of something and there's been no sort of proper information that's come out. Then you advance on that to make it not just one report, to make it many reports. Then you advance on that. It comes from all of these different people when that's not how it was at that time he's making these statements. So what's that if not a lie?
That kibbutz, it's a devastating development.
It's
Thank
a devastating
Charlie.
development.
Yes, extremely devastating reports if they turn out to be true. You said
completely devastating reports if they turn out to be true. You get again at that moment. Look, he's looking into the camera. This is propaganda, man. This is not your friend. Charlie is not your friend. Charlie is a propaganda man. I'd love to know what Charlie does. Shall I go and check what Charlie does? Okay. So we're gonna have a look, right? We're gonna have a look, and I've opened up Charlie Peters, this man who's on the screen. I've opened up his LinkedIn page, yeah, and I am going to read out to you. So let's go back to 2016, 2015, about 2012. He first shadowed the assistant brand manager, athletic lounge host for Procter and Gamble. Started off with them, and Aspire Lifestyle got him in his marketing eventually. Didn't last long there. National Fellowship at the Tab, and then he went to work for Spiked for a bit. I always see those types as like, or trying to be who poses the opposition. And he was an intern there, and then he was an intern at the Telegraph, which of course is a mainstream rag, and then guest editor of Wycombe Journal, Winchester College. Oh, that's interesting. And Charlotte Peters' partner, he's a researcher. I'd like to look into those. CIL management, he's a freelancer. And then for 6 years, so between 2017 to the present day, He's British Army. This guy on your screen. This military guy. He was a soldier on deployment between June 2020 and January 2021, and he was being a reservist. Details for service available upon request, apparently. And shall we say, mobilized for Army Reserve for full-time service when I provided strategic and tactical level support for specialist defense unit on global counter-terrorism operations. Well, that's interesting. And then, of course, during all of that time, he's also a writer and a broadcaster for National Review, American Conservative, Daily Telegraph, Spectator, Mail Plus, Quillette, Unheard, Spiked, and Cap X. Considerable broadcasting experience with Sky News, BBC Television, RT UK, STV, and BBC Radio. And now, from October 2022, he's a presenter, reporter at GBNEWS. So Charlie Peters, who's still in the British Army, is an army boy. Of course he's an army boy. Oh, look, Israel calls up 300,000 reservists. That's what you are. So he's reporting on something that he does know very well. It's like fair to say Charlie Peters understands war pretty well because he has literally a dog in the fight.
You say that
a British bulldog.
Israel will be launching a full offence. What does that mean? What is that likely to mean? We're already seeing targeted airstrikes onto the Gaza area. What else could we see?
What else could we see, Charlie? What else could we see?
Well, in the last 24 hours, the Hamas side, they have launched many targeted rocket attacks.
Okay, so that is not what she said. So instantly, before he's cushioning the blow, this is a propaganda technique. He's cushioning the blow of what Israel is going to do by explaining first what Hamas has done. He hasn't. Everybody knows. We already know this is happening, and this is the question: what is Israel going to do? Well, we know what Hamas is doing. Think about that.
Into Israel, reaching Ashkelon, where they offered a warning an hour before they sent rockets in there. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad in southern Lebanon also launched rockets into northern Israel.
That's interesting. They have to admit that the Palestinian, the Hamas actually gave warnings about the rockets going in beforehand, an hour beforehand, rather than 10 minutes you get from Israel. But still, what he's done, he's been asked the question, what is Israel going to do? And so he's saying what Hamas is doing.
And the Israeli side have reacted with dozens and hundreds of airstrikes into Gaza.
Have reacted. They want you to know that. Have reacted.
Especially along the coastline.
But this isn't bottle rockets. These are airstrikes, military airstrikes. These are big bombs going off, not bottle rockets. Remember, one side has got little weapons, the other side's got super big weapons given to them by people like us.
The development that is likely now over the next 24 to 48 hours is a ground assault into the Gaza Strip. This hasn't happened by Israeli Defense Forces since 2014, but it's under.
Right, okay. I mean, they're desperate to do a bit of this. They have no idea how bad this could turn out, because I'm not sure if anybody remembers what 2014 was like. But they had to put a lot of propaganda sheen on that too, because basically the Israelis went in to Palestinian lands and on numerous occasions got their ass handed to them on a plate, because they think they're the bomb. That's a bad terminology. They think they're the best thing ever, and they go in and discover that these guys have been living under occupation for so long that they are naturally trained fighters in the urban environments. That's why they got to just basically destroy it by sending in rocket after rocket after rocket after rocket after rocket after rocket. That's why they got to destroy them.
Understood that with the restraints being removed, as the defense minister says, and as more Israeli troops amass on that southern border with Gaza, which appears porous with terrorists crossing over, that a more direct ground invasion is likely into the Strip. And this will, of course, mean more death and more destruction. And
Well, Charlie probably likes that. He's well into a bit of that. But the porous nature of the border, I mean, that has got to be questioned because Israel never lacked in security on the border until suddenly now, when they're like, oh look, we can barely maintain the border. All of a sudden, just happened. All of a sudden, all the guards just go away. Place gets closed down for they've all come across the what a surprise.
Much more conflict.
Thank you very much indeed. Charlie Peters there, our reporter live from Tel Aviv, Israel, bringing us the...
Charlie Peters there for the British Army. I mean, GBNEWS in over there in wherever.
The very latest on what is escalating between Israel and Hamas.